What is up, you guys? Today we have a super special treat for you guys. I know that you guys absolutely love it when we do lab reviews. And so today I actually decided to give you guys a peek behind the curtain and to bring in our functional practitioner, Lisa. So both Lisa and I review the labs for our clients in the program. You're in for a special treat because this is the woman who spends hours reviewing our clients' labs and really going above and beyond where other programs, even other functional medicine providers, they fail. And so if you are feeling a little bit skeptical, you feel like you've tried everything, you're sick and tired of being told that everything's normal when you know something's off, but you're still unsure, like, how does this actually work? Like, how is it actually different? I wanted to give you guys like a little peek behind the curtains with a couple of real people. Some of these women's stories may resonate with you because you might feel like I'm a unicorn because, I had to have my gallbladder removed, or I had hysterectomy when I was young, or I have Hashimoto's or some other autoimmune disease. And so we see stuff like this all the time. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of like dive right in with Lisa. Before I do that, and let Lisa just say hi to you guys. If you are here with us, whether you're live or you're on replay, you know what? You guys always say hi to me. Go ahead and say hi, Lisa, in the comments below. Say hi to Lisa because she's a special guest today. And that's how we know what you're watching, that you're into this and that you're excited for what we're going to go through. So buckle up. It's going to be a ride. And this is going to be a bit of a longer training, but that's okay. It's available on recording so you can come back to it. So, all right, Lisa.
Hi, everybody. I am super glad to be the special guest today. We nerd out here. We call ourselves nerds all the time. Part of that is because we take a lot of pride in looking at the details of your labs to the degree that sometimes when we're doing lab reviews like this, but for both Jess and I, people are like, you don't know me. We're like, well, we have a little bit of a crystal ball when we do our testing and look at things at a deep level. So, we're
Yeah.
going to review client A.
So when we get a client, guys, so one of the things we do is we send our clients for like insane lab reviews. If you guys have ever gone on a call, I often tell you guys it's like 30 to 40 pages, oftentimes of labs. Some of these look like standard blood work that you have probably seen before. And then we'll go ahead and go into the specialty tests that we do that make all of the difference in the world. Now, this is a client that came to us on a lot of things. This is not a client who was like sitting on her ass doing nothing. She was on hormone replacement therapy. She was seeing a doctor for gut issues. She had 1,000 supplements, as you can see. She was working out 5 days a week, literally doing everything quote unquote textbook, but really struggling, as you can see, with this yo-yo cycle. She had weight loss resistance. She was strong because she'd been lifting. She had gut issues. She had frequent headaches. She was having trouble with her hormones, trouble with her sex drive, fatigue, brain fog, like all of the things. And she was literally doing all the things right, you guys. Like she wasn't driving through McDonald's and like sitting on her ass. She was literally like, I'm taking all the supplements, doing the workouts. She had worked with other coaches before. Like she was literally doing the shit. And so we have all this information. Does this sound like you? Some of you guys, this is what she told us: 6 to 7 days of movement, strength training, balanced meals. She had a morning routine. She was prioritizing hydration. She had been following me on social media. And so she had been doing the work, guys. Does this sound like you? If it does, let us know in the comments below. Literally, she was doing all the shit.
She was doing a lot of things well.
Guys, like this is not a
Mhm.
beginner. Now, look, guys, we don't have the in-depth time that we have when we actually go into this with our clients. We're going to go fast, but no, when we go through this, it's really, really in depth with our clients.
And we look at it through the lens of who you are. So we do lots and lots of intake. We know what you've been taking, what you've been on. I research if I don't know, if you're on a medication I'm not familiar with, I go and I research what those side effects are, how they're going to contribute to what your labs look like. So this client, when we look at her labs, she had a little bit of hypoglycemia. Blood sugar was just a smidge low. We're looking at a lab report based on that far right column where it says reference interval. See that far right column? That is based on average population. When the lab or a conventional provider says to you, you're high or you're low, like you can see she's got a couple of high scores there. I'm looking at usually way more out of range scores because I'm not using that range on the far right. I'm using a functional medicine range, which is different. And I do provide you with what those ranges are during our calls. I get much more nitpicky. Like I'm going through and I'm going, your blood sugar, the lab is giving you way more range, but I can see that I bet you're swinging. You get the hangries. Yep, she did. She had a slightly elevated insulin. Not bad. What does insulin do, you guys? Fat storage. Not good. A lot of other things were okay, but you know what? This client had taken some medication that had really harmed her liver. Do you see right there in the dark there where it all says high? Those are her liver enzymes. Wow, they're really, 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 really high.
So
That's a
important.
problem. You see that on that chart that Jess is holding up? When liver function is impaired, we're not making important hormone conversions in the liver, like thyroid hormone that maintains our metabolism, our proper hair growth, our body temperature. And you guys are like, "Well, I'm putting in a lot of the correct things, but I still feel cold. My hair's falling out. I don't have any energy. My metabolism sucks." We have to look at other things, other systems in the body like the liver. So, other things for this client that we want to point out are there are some nutrient deficiencies. We correct those for everyone, of course, so that's important. But in her case, her electrolytes were a little screwy too. Her sodium was a little low, her chloride was low, carbon dioxide is low. What does that mean? That's a clue that she's under stress. We're going to look more at stress in another one of her tests, but this is one of my first clues where I have someone in front of me who's probably been stressed for a long time, and that's going to impact cortisol, which is our master stress hormone, and that's going to impact how our sex hormones function. All important stuff. So,
This is an idea just to show you what Lisa was talking about, where they have sort of standard ranges and then optimal ranges. As you can see, right, this is just one of the reports that we use. It's 18 pages long and it really goes through all of this stuff. Our clients get obviously all of this stuff, but it's not enough to just have the information. Like you need to actually know what to do with it. So this is just one piece of the puzzle. And then we put it together with the other pieces of the puzzle. So we put it together with one of our other favorite tests. And this one here is called a Dutch test. And this is a 24-hour hormone test. If you could only get blood work, that's great. But the Dutch test is awesome because it actually shows what you're using, not just what's in your blood. So just because a hormone's inside of your blood doesn't mean that your body's actually it's actually getting into the cells. And so the cool thing about the Dutch test is number one, we get a full 24-hour snapshot because you do it at home. And then number two, it actually shows us what you're actually using and it shows us how you metabolize your hormones. So this is actually information that you cannot get on blood work. And this is like the greatest test in the entire world.
we love that test because look at how high her estrogen and her testosterone are. Why is it high? She's been doing HRT. So those are really, really high. On her lab work, we found a marker called sex hormone binding globulin was also really high. So you would think, oh gosh, this poor woman has really high testosterone and really high estrogen symptoms, but she also has symptoms of low because sex hormone binding globulin binds up the sex hormone she's been throwing in on the top. So she's been putting it in thinking I'm going to get my levels right, but something called sex hormone binding globulin, which is not very often run, is actually impacting how this is being used in the body. Really important to look at both tests together.
And then the other thing, Lisa and I were talking about before this is like if you're struggling with belly fat, we see it a lot. And so you go on HRT and you're like, why is this getting worse? Because number one, this high of estrogen can cause belly fat. Testosterone can also cause it. It can also cause hair loss as well. And so there's a whole host of symptoms that will start to come. And that's the cool thing about the Dutch test is because we can actually see why you are losing your hair. And it may or may not because of testosterone is just one of the reasons that you can be experiencing hair loss. You can have it from too much and also from not enough.
Yeah, the symptoms kind of cross over. And in terms of hair loss, it's probably one of the most common symptoms people come in with. And she had like the trifecta of multiple reasons why. Most people think it's because I don't have enough B vitamins. That is hardly ever the reason. It's usually a minor factor for most people. She has some hormone dysfunction, as we can see. She also has some thyroid dysfunction, and she had something called iron dysregulation in her lab work. So all three of those things tell us we have more work to do than just adding B vitamins in. Look at her stress. Did you see that? It's a little on the high side. You can see by the graph, she's a little stressed. But more importantly, when you look at the slider bar just above that in green, do you guys see how her body is not clearing it very well? So below the green on the cortisol clearance rate bar, you know what that means? Her body has been compensating for stress by trying to hang on to cortisol for longer than it normally should be. Because she's been stressed for so long, her adrenals are kind of starting to fatigue and making enough cortisol. So they're like, well, the adrenals adrenals go, well, we're getting tired. We can't make that much cortisol. So let's just keep what we have around for longer. Why would that be problematic? Because hormones have to be detoxed like anything else. What happens when we keep cortisol around too long? We get that big old fat tire. So she's also got a ton of reasons for one of her most annoying symptoms, which is weight gain in the belly.
She was already working out 7 days a week. She was already eating really well and not eating enough. There is no diet in the world that's going to fix this. There's not. This is not a problem that you solve with exercise and eating less. It's literally impossible to solve this like that. And so I'm going to go ahead and jump in to one more of our lab tests. This is a beautiful test as well. It's not nearly as sexy as talking about hormones, because talking about hormones is like really fun, and talking about gut health is not nearly as much fun. But this is where all of the magic happens. And so many of you guys don't realize, how many symptoms would you say people like don't realize are connected to their gut?
I think every client we have come in, when we show them that hormone hierarchy, when they actually see what's on the bottom, hold it up a little higher there. See that, guys? Gut and liver are the most foundational piece to making the thing at the top work right. Sex hormones. Gut and liver is the purple box at the bottom. The one above that is cortisol. The pink one is insulin. Then we have thyroid, and sex hormones are the little one at the top. Most of you are like, hey, let me go get HRT. Let me insert some pellets. Let me do whatever. I'm going to fix my hormones and therefore my weight with sex hormones. But look at all those other pieces.
Yeah, these are the ones that are giving you belly fat.
Yeah. And the gut piece, most people are shocked. You don't know why? Because most people aren't having very many gut symptoms, or they've had them for so long they just think it's normal to be a little bloaty and gassy. So they've decided those symptoms are just their normal. They're not normal. They're the result of pathogens.
I think also like a lot of people don't connect the brain fog to the gut. A lot of people don't connect even like fatigue, because if you have leaky gut or you're not able to absorb, you're taking all these supplements, but you're not actually able to absorb them because your gut sucks. And so people don't always connect the symptoms to the fact that your gut actually needs work.
Most of our clients come in and some of them are like, look, I don't have super major symptoms. I just kind of don't feel like myself. That is our biggest clue, actually, that something is off, because you've been told that your symptoms are just aging. You just got to put up with it. Just deal with it. No, you don't. That is actually not normal. It's just common. There's a big difference between normal and common. And that's where we work in kind of the fine tuning, because we're not putting up with that shit.
So I think that you said something really interesting there, because it's like, I think a lot of women that are like maybe 10 or 15 pounds away from their goal, they think it's like, oh, I just need like to tweak this one thing. It's only 10 or 15 pounds. And I tell people all the time, the last 10 or 15 pounds, like that optimization is as hard as any weight you'll ever lose, because it's always about the details. We don't ever see these things in isolation. It's never just, let me look at your thyroid, or it's never just, hey, your estrogen's too high. It's never just one thing. There's this cascade that happens. And to get those last like 10 or 15 pounds off, it's honestly, it's the hardest work you'll ever do.
Yeah. And like this person too, her thyroid, she was taking thyroid medication, Synthroid, which is one of the hormones that the thyroid makes, but it has to be converted. It happens in the liver. T4, which is what she was putting in to try and support her thyroid. She's putting this T4 medication in, but that hormone has to be converted to something called T3 in the liver to balance your metabolism. And she wasn't. We could see in her lab work, because we do a full thyroid panel, not just a couple markers, a whole bunch of them. She wasn't making the conversion. Why? She had those elevated liver enzymes that were messing things up, and her gut was also experiencing dysfunction. We see that in the GI map right here. Love this test so much. She's got some infections. So see that H. pylori, scroll back up just a smidge. It didn't pop in the red, but it is elevated. This usually is asymptomatic for most people, but this one creates holes in the gut lining, and that gets you susceptible to developing more pathogen activity, which we're going to see below. You can see a few things out of range here. Look at that Akkermansia. See that one right there that Jess is hovering over? Akkermansia is a beneficial gut bacteria. It's getting a lot of press because it's kind of getting a lot of research done right now. Akkermansia produces your natural GLP-1. GLP-1 is not just a medication, you guys. It's a hormone that your body produces if your gut is healthy. She's not producing any. So we have some work to do to correct that.
We see that a lot.
Oh, she's got a big old strep infection. been hanging out for a while. She's been getting a lot of inflammation because that particular strain is associated with super high inflammation. She was trying to do all the things, you guys, to deal with that. It's not going to budge till we address these pathogens. And here's her digestion. Look at that elastase in the red. Elastase tells us that her pancreas isn't producing enough digestive enzymes to break her food down. And when your food doesn't get broken down, it sits around and all the pathogens have a party because they're going to feast on that. So this is not because her pancreas is dysfunctional. This is actually because of the pathogens kind of creating some mayhem in here. This means she needs a little support to break down her food while we correct the pathogen issue. She was already doing digestive enzymes. She was doing them for so many years trying to correct it, but the real issue is the pathogens that she was unaware of.
Which there's no probiotics that are going to fix that. You have to actually know exactly what you're dealing with in order to fix this.
Oh yeah, look at that low secretory IgA. You guys, this is one of the most, this is a smoking gun. We've had a few clues that she's been under a lot of stress, that stress is building in her system. This shows us that stress is degrading the gut lining. When secretory IgA is low like that, it means the immune system, which starts in the gut, is having a lot of trouble balancing itself. She can't just do all this, let's just add hormones in, let's just do some thyroid medication. Stress is undermining everything she's doing. And even though she's been putting in progesterone as well. When you put in progesterone, but your cortisol is a mess, showing the hormone hierarchy, where's cortisol? You guys, she's throwing in progesterone at the top. You know what the body does? It goes, listen, making more cortisol, more stress hormone is way more of a priority in terms of survivability than balancing hormones. So it steals that progesterone to make more cortisol. So this poor woman is feeding hormones. The body is like shuttling that, not making better sex hormone. Instead, it's making more cortisol.
Well,
she feels crazy.
People typically will feel is really puffy. They'll feel more puffy. They'll start to swell up and they'll be like, what the hell is happening? And that's what you see when you have somebody really stressed out that adds progesterone.
There's some weird symptoms. You know what sometimes people get is this like puffiness, almost like a shoulder hump in the back of the neck. Yeah. Does anybody have that? Because that's one of those weird symptoms that people go, I don't know, maybe that's just me aging. No, that's cortisol dysregulation. That's a stress issue.
So guys, I'm going to kind of show you what we do with all of this information in the comments below. If you're still watching, I know you've been with us for a while now. Is this helpful? Is this like making sense to you guys? Is this kind of clicking? Is this something that you would love to have for yourself? Because this is the kind of detail that we go into for literally all of our clients. And honestly, guys, it's a fucking game changer. Just let me know down in the comments below. I'm sure some of you guys are still watching because you're like totally geeking out on this. And then I'm going to actually show you what we actually do with all of this beautiful information. I'm just going to go through this super fast. So she literally knows exactly what to eat, medicinal foods for her based on her labs, like with links to buy them, foods to avoid, special focus for her, different movement and lifestyle things. Each of these has a training attached to it. And if you look at this and you're like, holy shit, that's overwhelming. She also has a personal coach that's meeting with her. Literally, she's checking in with every single week to help her implement this over the course of 6 months. This isn't a one-time protocol. We literally design all of these. These are all custom made videos for her. So she can always go back and watch it. She knows exactly what foods to eat, what supplements to take, what workouts to do. And it's all completely customized for her based on her labs. And we update it for her as she goes and her body starts healing. And so that's the level of detail that we go into. And that's how we're able to provide the results for our clients.
Major support. She has access to her coach every single day. She has access to Jess every single week, and she has access to me every single week, so we can answer any question that comes up.
So it's like truly like this like all hands-on kind of team approach when it's needed. Obviously, there's weeks when people are doing really, really, really well and they don't need any of us. But when they need the support is there. And I think something else that I had actually shared or brought up was some of her testimonials. Before the badass, I felt like I was doing everything right. She'd been doing this routinely in the gym 3 to 4 days. She was doing cardio, a lot of muscle definition, but she was emotionally and mentally frustrated to be putting in the work and not seeing the results. She knew there was something more going on. Now she feels proud. So it's really hard for successful women to ask for help. So for her, she had to put her ego aside, reach out to total strangers and let them in on her journey. That was a big step. Like you can see, obviously it's paid off. She's more confident in her body and her daily decisions. And what she says is like, if you think you're doing everything right and it's not working, then you need the help to find out why. The body and mind are so complex, and these coaches combined can help you find it and fix it. It's not a normal diet and coaching program. They work on the whole spectrum. And if they don't have an answer right away, they go find it. Oh, I love this. She's able to take what she's learned and help her family be healthy. I love hearing stuff like that.
So sweet. That's why we do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. We were gonna do a second one, but I think this has already gotten like super long and in depth. We actually have another one prepared. So if you guys would like us to do this again, let me know down in the comments. We have another one. And the other client that we chose is a pretty interesting because she's had her appendix removed, she's had a hysterectomy.
Was missing an appendix. She had a bunch of surgeries, had to do some medication. I know a lot of you guys sometimes think, man, programs like this can't help me because I've done so much and I've ruined my, I've taken out my organ. No, 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 no. We can still help, and we are really passionate about it because we know what you're getting told. You're getting told, what do you mean your labs are normal? Everything looks good here.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. No, you don't feel well.
Yeah.
And we're going to dig to figure out why.
Yeah. So if you guys like this, let me know. I always value your feedback. So if you guys like it, let us know. And Lisa and I would be more than happy to jump on and do it again. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up for today. Hope some of you guys got some value out of this. If you want this for you, go ahead and just let me know. Send me a message and we can see. We don't accept everybody as clients. So you have to be the right fit for us in order for me to be confident enough to offer you a guarantee. So we don't accept everybody as clients, but I'm certainly willing to have a conversation with you and see if it's something that we can do for you. Again, we do guarantee the results if we accept you. So if you are like, wow, this is what I need, I want this, send me a message and we can talk about what that looks like. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. So much fun.
All right, bye guys.